Our jail intelligence squad that we created just over a year ago learned information from a source that Terry Bradford was bringing cannabis-laced perishables into the detention facility along with other contraband and being compensated by the inmates. So his greed got the best of him. To what extent, how expansive is this? That's why these jail intelligence detectives and analysts aren't here today, because they have a lot of work to do. This is in the preliminary stages, but I commend them for their fast-acting efforts. We learned this information on Monday, and last night, this detention deputy was placed under arrest. He was placed under arrest for introduction of contraband into the detention facility and possession of a controlled substance. Last night was the first night this week that he reports to work. Terry Bradford reports to work last night, enters the detention facility, and we located, indeed, over a pound of cannabis-laced brownies that he had individually packed for sale to these inmates. What we've learned so far, and again, this is extremely preliminary, is that they use a cash app called Cash App, and it's that this money can be wired right into this deputy's account. We know so far that a few $1,000s has been profited by this deputy for the transactions that he completed in just this short amount of time. I say a short amount of time, but I don't know how expansive this is. That's what these detectives will work on now and certainly provide that update. Does this include other deputies? Does this include other transactions? We're just not sure right now, but we'll continue working and get to the bottom of it. I can assure you that we have a zero tolerance for any type of contraband, especially illicit drugs that get introduced into our detention facilities. And some people may ask why. Think about the dangers that this creates. It turns into gambling. It turns into violence. And that violence, where's it going to start? It's going to start by one of our deputy sheriffs getting hurt trying to enforce these policies that's being created. What other contraband's being introduced into the detention facility? We know historically any detention facility on the local, state, or federal level that most contraband is introduced by an employee. So we're aware of this. That's why our screening measures that we have are probably exceed most of those that in any jurisdiction. But we have to allow our employees who work 12-hour shifts, we have to allow them to bring food in the detention facility. You know, they're inside, they don't have the freedom to leave to go get something to eat. So we have to allow them. Some have dietary restrictions, some have medications, some just want their own comfort food to come in, and they don't want to eat food that's provided by the Department of Detention Services. I understand that. What we've done to mitigate this is our new food contract service is now cooking and providing very, I think, phenomenally healthy food options, a warm meal for our employees, free of charge. So I'm hoping that this will reduce the amount of food that's being introduced into detention facilities. That's difficult to screen. Now, what type of screening mechanisms do we have in place? Our employees are forced. And remember when I talk about our employees, it's not just our sworn detention deputies. We have a lot of outside contracted employees, whether it's medical employees, whether it's our teachers, whether it's our counselors, whether it's religious figures. Regardless of who is contracted to come into our detention facility, they have to go through magnetometers to make sure we're stopping weapons. All their items that they bring into the detention facility go through an X-ray machine. So I'm hoping with adding the free service that we're going to cook a hot meal will reduce the amount of food that's coming in and stop any type of perishable item like this is happening. We know at least twice he's bring cannabis-induced brownies into the detention facility. Again, last night, over a pound of it. You know, think about the severity. Who's creating this? Imagine the dangers that this poses to the inmates in our custody. So extremely dangerous. I think this goes without saying, but I'll say it for my own edification. I don't ever want the actions of one deputy sheriff to reflect the hardworking, dedicated, and selfless service of the men and women that are the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Because I assure you that we have a zero tolerance for any type of corruption by any of our employees. And I've just met with the command staff before coming in here tonight, this morning, and we all discussed if we have to go work the detention facilities ourselves to get to the bottom of it, because we have to weed out, terminate, and fire anyone that's bringing any type of contraband, that's violating the public trust, this community trust, and the trust of this agency, that's exactly what we'll do. Terry Bradford has lost his right to have a career in law enforcement, and I'll ensure that that happens. I talked to our state attorney today, and we will make sure that he feels the full weight of the criminal justice system.